Patriots fans, there's time for one more bold prediction before the end of the bye. What can you expect from your New England Patriots in the second half? The voice of reason is here with me today to discuss that and more. So stay tuned. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, so be sure to smash that subscribe button and download, subscribe to, and follow wherever you get your podcasts. Pats fans, today's episode of Locked On Patriots is presented by our friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com, promo code Locked On. Pats fans, earlier this week, I dubbed a bye-bye to the bye, or I gave a bye-bye to the bye with our good friend Murph here on the Locked On Patriots studios, but it's not quite time to let go of the bye just yet. I know the Patriots are back in action, and they'll be back on the practice field on Wednesday to really start preparing for this weekend's matchup with the Jets. But we still need a little reasonable wisdom and counsel. And lucky for me here today, we have our resident voice of reason, my Patriots paisan, a columnist extraordinaire of PatsFans.com, as well as being the co-host of not one but 2 amazing podcasts, Patriots 4th and 2, alongside Russ Goldman and Derek Havens, and of course, One Patriots Place with our good friends here on the program, the legendary Thomas Murphy and the Countess of Class herself, Ms. Claire Cooper. He is Steve Balestrieri. Steve, thanks once again for joining me here on Locked On Patriots today.
Good afternoon, Mike. I always love talking football with you, and what better way to start after the bye week than have a game with the Jets?
Absolutely. Can't think of any better place to be. And, you know, those Jets are coming to town, and it is going to be a barn burner. Let me tell you, the Jets right now, they're feeling let's put it this way. They're riding high right now. They're flying high. I'll use an analogy for Jets fans out there. For all the digs that I give them throughout the 364 days out of the year, I'll be complimentary. The Jets have played very well the last few weeks, although Patriots did get them the last time these two teams hooked up. And we'll discuss that maybe a little bit more in just a moment. But first, my friend, it is almost time to say bye-bye to the bye. I promise, folks, I won't say that anymore. But the New England Patriots did take the practice fields on Monday. Bill Belichick doing a little bit of unorthodox practice schedule this week. I think a lot of it was to prevent any type of eventual letdown, keep the skills sharp, get the guys back out on the field after a long layoff. So not a whole lot to report. Obviously, they're only, initial workouts that we're allowed to watch from Gillette. But one thing that was interesting is the return of wide receiver DeVante Parker. And of course, we all know, Steve, that DeVante injured himself in the previous Jets game. First play from scrimmage, he goes down with a knee injury. He's out for the game. Did not play against the Colts, using the bye week to get back on his feet, and he looks like he may be ready to go, hopefully, for Sunday. Now, we won't know that for sure until the injury reports start coming out on Wednesday, but if, in fact, DeVante is on the road to recovery and he's able to go on Sunday, how does that change things for the New England Patriots game plan? Just having DeVante Parker back, what does it mean for the wide receivers core?
Oh, I think it's huge when you look at how they want to use him and the fact that they've struggled, in the red zone the last couple of weeks. I think that, having a big physical guy like Parker going up, getting contested passes, especially on third down and in the red zone, I think that's huge for the offense because it gives Mac Jones a player that they really don't have other than him on the roster.
Yeah, without any question. I'm glad you mentioned the contested catch ability, because this is something that when DeVante was first acquired from the Miami Dolphins, that a lot of Patriots fans were looking forward to seeing. It almost felt like, well, this is what we hoped we were going to get from N'Keal Harry a couple of years ago, and now we can finally get it with DeVante Parker. He's averaging 21.4 yards per catch throughout New England's first 7 games that he's played. So this is something that we are seeing from DeVante Parker. Maybe not the touchdown production that I think a lot of Patriots fans had hoped for. Only one on those, but let's face it, the passing game has not exactly been lighting the world on fire either. Some of that is to do with the offensive line, the signal callers, the play callers. There's been a whole lot going on, but I think Parker's return is vital for a lot of reasons that you mentioned. First of all, he gives you that viable red zone target that the Patriots really have been lacking. And for as well as Tyquan Thornton has played, and I love the way he's able to stretch the field. I love how he gives you that vertical threat when the Patriots do want to utilize that. His speed is tremendous. Jakobi Meyers, I think, is the most complete wide receiver on this team. Kendrick Bourne starting to round into place a little bit. Parker does give you that ability to go up and to be physical with some of the more physical corners in the league. And I think especially against a team like the Jets, that's going to be vital for the Patriots to find some success, because a lot of eyes are going to be on the passing game this weekend. Going to be a big day for Mac Jones, the offensive line, and really for Matt Patricia in trying to get these guys going. Do you see Parker as a potential catalyst to really spark maybe an offensive surge this weekend?
Oh, I think so. I mean, the passing game has been struggling. The offensive line has been struggling, and he's a guy, can get you that quick slant, can body out a defender, especially you get in those 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 situations. He can go out and get you that 5-6 yards to keep
Absolutely.
the chains moving. So that to me is big. And then, he can occasionally stretch the field if they catch the defense kind of napping on him, depending on what the situation might be.
Absolutely. Glad you mentioned that as well, because he is someone that is capable of winning his matchups both on the perimeter and on the inside as well. Down the field, something that is not really in his particular repertoire, but this guy can move down the field when he needs to. And if Mac Jones can hit him in stride, he may be even able to give you a few yards after the catch as well, because he is tough at the catch point, and that leads him to be able to extend some plays beyond what they normally would be by toughing out some of the catches and toughing out some of the coverage that he might see. So once again, my friend, your reason, your wisdom, your counsel brings us to an area where I'm in complete agreement, and I think I don't want to speak for our listeners, but I think they will be as well. I think you'll see DeVante come back into the Patriots 3 wide receiver sets. I think Tyquan Thornton and I think Jakobi Meyers will be the top 3 options. I think Kendrick Bourne gives you a nice little nudge. And folks, do not forget about Nelson Aguilar. I know he's had his issues, drop issues. I know some fans have kind of written him off as the also ran in that lineup, but this guy can hang on to the football. He's capable of blazing down the field as well. He's also capable of making some big-time catches. We've seen him do it before. So maybe this might be a get-right game for the New England Patriots on the passing game, but going up against Sauce Gardner and that secondary is not an easy task, and they'll be well tested this weekend without any question. The Jets are coming to play. They've got a bad taste in their mouth from 2 weeks ago, and definitely Sauce alluded to this earlier a couple of weeks ago. He says, we got those guys in 2 weeks, and so did Zach Wilson. These guys are going to be ready. So hopefully DeVante Parker comes back, gives them that little boost that the Patriots need. Steve, it's always fun talking strategy with you, and strategy is always the byproduct of coaching, good coaching. And one former Patriots coach is not exactly lighting it up in the Nevada desert. Folks, worse luck in Vegas since Clark Griswold took his family out there and everybody went to see Wayne Newton. Not really good for Josh McDaniels over in Las Vegas, the city that never sleeps. I don't think Josh is getting a lot of sleep right now, but he's getting a lot of buy-in from the Raiders management. So for anyone that was hoping that Josh was going to come walking back through that door to magically fix Mac Jones, Not going to happen, folks. Steve and I are going to talk about what that may mean for the Patriots coaching staff and why is it a good thing or a bad thing. We'll discuss that in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, as I said to open the show today, today's podcast is sponsored by our good friends at PrizePicks.com. Let me tell you a little bit on how PrizePicks works. They are daily fantasy made easy. You pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. There's no competing against other people, so you're not competing against myself or against Steve. It's just you versus the projections available on any sport that you watch, including the NFL, NBA, NHL, college football, men's and women's college basketball, and so much more. It's so easy to use. The entries can be made in less than 60 seconds. The withdrawals are fast, they're safe, and it's currently operational in over 30 states and in Canada. So download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. And if you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to use and enter the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100 with our good friends at PrizePicks.com. Steve, as long as PrizePicks is under the gun right now and we're continuing to talk about the world of professional sports, let me continue on for just a moment with a sports analogy for you. When it comes to burglars, folks, your home is like the end zone, and you need the absolute strongest defense that you can muster. That's why I use and trust SimpliSafe Home Security. At SimpliSafe, your safety is the only thing that matters. It's cutting-edge technology powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who always have your back, so you always know when your home is safe. SimpliSafe's agents call you the moment a threat is detected, and they dispatch police or first responders in an emergency, even if you're not home or you can't be reached. They have advanced sensors for every room, window, and door, HD security cameras for inside and outside your home, just smarter ways to detect motion that only alert you when a threat is real, and even hazard sensors that instantly detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplisafe.com/lockedonnfl. You can save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan and get your first month free when you visit simplisafe.com/lockedonnfl to learn more. That's your first month free at simplisafe.com/lockedonnfl. There is no safe like SimpliSafe. Patriots fans, the resident voice of reason here on Locked On Patriots, my good friend and Patriots paisan, Steve Balestrieri of PatsFans.com, joining me here today on this Tuesday episode of the pod. And Steve, in the previous segment, we talked a little bit about DeVante Parker. We talked a little bit about the Patriots wide receivers core, but the offense as a whole has been, it's been much maligned. I'll be as diplomatic as I can be without getting into colloquialisms that no one wants to hear right now. Everyone is hoping that the Patriots offense has rid itself from some of the difficulties that they've had during this bye week, and they come out ready to play. A lot of that is going to be determined by the players on the field. Mac Jones under center, for example, has to be more decisive, has to be a little bit better when picking up the blitz. He has to do his job. Offensive line needs to be much better when it comes to blocking, both run and pass protection. They've been subpar. The tight ends, the wide receivers, they have to step up their game. Can't say too much wrong about the running backs. Ramondre Stevenson has been excellent, and Damian Harris, when healthy, has been a nice compliment as well. But the coaching staff, I think right now, is the catalyst for anything moving forward with the Patriots and anything moving forward with their offense. And it's ironic because the coaching staff is under fire, maybe the second most under fire of any offensive mind right now in the National Football League. The top distinction, I'm sorry to say it, folks, it's not Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, or anybody on the Patriots staff. It's an ex-Patriots coach, and we talked about this earlier, my friend. Josh McDaniels having a rough time out in Vegas. He is far from doing the Elvis dance with Viva Las Vegas right now. Raiders are at 2-7. They lost to Jeff Saturday and the Colts in Saturday's debut, his pro and collegiate level debut. He doesn't have any coaching experience, or didn't up until Sunday. And they were able to come in and they were able to beat him. Matt Ryan, with a quarterback that most people thought had played his final down in the NFL. These are not good times for the silver and black right now. And Josh has been struggling an awful lot. As a matter of fact, a lot of Patriots fans, a lot of fans throughout the league, I know Raiders fans were talking about this, that Josh may not make it through the week. The Raiders brass may take a look at this, pull the plug, and say, we're done. They didn't do that. They've actually given him a vote of confidence and said he will start the 2023 season. I know things can always be reneged, but we're going to take them at their word for a moment. I know Patriots fans had this scenario in their head that Josh was going to get fired. Bill's going to pick up the phone, send the plane out there, pick him up from Vegas. McDaniels comes back, coaches Mac for a day. Sunday, the Patriots come out, and Mac looks like the Mac of old. That's not going to happen. A lot of fans are saying doom and gloom of that because they just don't have the faith in Matt Patricia. Before we get into Patricia and Judge, let's talk a little bit about let's talk a little bit about Josh McDaniels. How surprised are you at his struggles out in Las Vegas, especially with the roster he's got out there?
Yeah, I'm very surprised. When we saw them in preseason and training camp, and we thought they were primed to have a really good season, and it just hasn't worked out. And they all seem very frustrated. I watched the Raiders game, and then I saw the interview with Carr after the game, and he seemed like he was close to tears. How frustrated he is right now, and that vote of confidence, take it with a grain of salt. But in this case, I believe it's going to happen because Mark Davis is still trying to pay off John Gruden. He still has a couple of years left on what they owed him, and then to get rid of Josh McDaniels at this early juncture. I believe they gave him a 4-year deal. So, you'd be looking at 3+ more years added on to a coach that's no longer there. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen either. Mike Florio tweeted about this very shortly after a lot of those rumors started to gain steam throughout Raider Nation and even Patriots Nation as well, thinking that Josh was on his way back to New England and that he was on his way out of Las Vegas, wherever he was going. I know Raider fans just wanted to see him jettisoned, but there are a lot of reasons why Josh is still the coach of the Raiders, and most of them have to do with what's sitting in the bank right now from Mark Davis. Estimated potential tens of $1 million worth of a buyout. And like you said, the Raiders right now are still paying John Gruden. They're not going to put that type of financial burden on their back. And folks, for lack of a better term, 9 games is still way too small of a sample size to determine whether or not this could potentially work, unless this was so catastrophic that nothing could salvage it. I think at least the Raiders would owe Josh the opportunity to finish the season and see what could be done if these guys start to buy in. So obviously Josh McDaniels not walking back through the door, but let me ask you this, Steve. That means, much to the chagrin of Patriots fans, that Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, and this Patriots offensive brain trust is going to remain in effect for the remainder of the season. Hasn't been impressive what we've seen so far. There have been moments where they've looked pretty good, but overall, a rough time for the offense. Can they get the job done down the stretch and get this team to the playoffs?
I think it's possible. It's not going to be easy. I mean, first they have to fix the issues along the offensive line because everything starts and ends from that spot. I mean, if your offensive line isn't playing well, your running backs have no holes to run through. As we've seen, I think it was either Phil Perry or Doug Hyatt posted on Twitter that in the last month, 79% of Ramondre Stevenson's yardage has been after contact. So that tells you that they're not opening holes for him. And on the flip side of that, if they're not opening holes for your running backs, that means your quarterback's under duress, and which he has been. So everything needs to get fixed right from there, right off Jump Street, going back this week against the Jets. I think the brain trust, as you put it, they need to get more creative. They need to show different formations, different motions. I think they need to use play action a little bit more. And I think what we really need to see, especially this week, I want to see them stretch the field, not so much vertically, but horizontally. Get everyone moving, say, to the left and throw back to the right. And get some of your playmakers, guys like, Tyquan Thornton, who has some speed, Kendrick Bourne, maybe Nelson Aguilar. Get them the ball in some space to allow them to make some plays after the catch.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And I'm glad that you mentioned the playmakers, because that may end up factoring into the point that we discuss next here on Locked On Patriots. But I just want to let you know that, yeah, I do agree with you in terms of what you said. I think it is possible that this unit is able to put out a NFL worthy, offense. And I'm always cautious when I say that, because I know a lot of people are going to come back and say, well, the offense hasn't been as bad as people have, made it out to be. And that is true. Virtue always lies in the middle, folks. You're going to hear people that have told you it's 100% disastrous. And then there will people that'll tell you that, well, the sky is not falling. Everything is fine. It really has been a little bit of both for the Patriots. So hopefully cooler heads will prevail. The New England Patriots will heed some of what a lot of the analysts have been saying, which is utilize play action, maybe use the gap runs as much as you use the outside zone, and allow the playbook to maybe be a little bit, how shall I say, simplified, even for Mac Jones, to get everybody back on track. Steve, we're at that time now where we are going to talk about exactly what we opened the show with today, and that is one more bold prediction before the bye. You know that Steve is always the resident voice of reason, and I'm going to pick his brain on what that might be in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast wraps up. But Steve, first, can we pause the pod for just a moment? Just one moment. We'll just pause the pod for just a moment, folks. Okay, we're paused. Great, because you have to try what I'm talking about. Folks, you got to try this, and that is Built Bar's new reimagined flavors. I know they're fan favorites, and believe me, these are going to be too. Cookie dough topper, coconut brownie bar, and the coconut brownie topper. They also, for the season, folks, have white chocolate peppermint granola. It's Built's take on the granola bar, so it's more filling and still insanely tasty. And candy cane brownie puff. That's right, folks. Just in time for your holiday celebrations. Built Puffs are like biting into the universe's most delicious cloud. First off, anyone who hasn't had or tried Built Bars before, they are literally the best tasting protein bars ever built. See what I did there, Steve? But they're revolutionizing nutrition as we know it as well, because they're 100% real chocolate, 17 grams of protein, and shockingly low sugar and calories. Only 130 calories on these bars, folks. You have to check this out. Sink your teeth into that first bite. I'm telling you, it's going to change your life forever. I'm not kidding. There will be a time before you try these new Built flavors, and you're going to wonder how you survived without them. And the magical, wonderful time afterwards, you're probably wondering which new flavors is going to be my favorite. Which is my favorite? Folks, it's an unanswerable question, to say the least, without any doubt about that. They're all unbelievable, and they're all different. So you can order a mixed box and try all 5 flavors just for yourself. Built, you gotta try this, folks. Get 15% off your order right now by using the code LOCKEDON15 at Built.com. That's LOCKEDON15, LOCKEDON 15 at Built.com. Patriots fans, thank you once again for taking time out of your schedule today to join us here on Locked On Patriots. Tuesday, right now, after the bye week, as we head into a Week 11 matchup with the New York Jets at the end of the week on Sunday at Gillette Stadium. Steve, it's almost time to take our leave of the bye week. All of the speculation, the time for the talk is just about over, but not before we have a little more fun here on Locked On Patriots, before we say bye-bye to the bye. I know, folks. I said I wouldn't say it again. I promise. This is the last one. Steve, we love bold predictions. Well, I don't know if we love them, but our fans love them. Football fans all over the country love bold predictions. We love takes. Oh, always able to sink your teeth into a nice hot take. So when you look at this team now, sitting at 5-4, holding on to the seventh and final seed in the playoffs right now, hard to believe that all four of the AFC East teams, so much for that AFC least, huh? They're all going to make the playoffs if the playoffs started today. Not sure if that's going to happen when the season is over, but as you look at this team right now, knowing the strength of schedule that they have the rest of the way they've played, but also the potential they have to play the way we think they can, what is your bold prediction for the second half of the New England Patriots season in 2022?
Well, I think the offense is going to get stuff figured out. I'm not sure that they're going to get it figured out to the extent that we're all hoping they will. I think Mac Jones will play better because I just think that, this past week with the bye week, as you said, I think they did a lot of self-scouting, and they have to realize what they do well and what they don't. And what they don't, they need to toss out. And, just stick to what stick to what works. And, I really think that looking at the grand scheme of things, I mean, the playoffs are not out of the realm of possibility because, as always, it all depends on who's healthiest. We've seen Buffalo drop a couple of games that we didn't think they were going to. So I really think the offense will be better. I'm just not sure it's going to be that much better.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you. I think the offense will be better. I think we may differ a little bit in terms of how they're going to get there, in terms of opinions and bold predictions. I do believe Mac Jones will be better. I think that the offensive line will still continue to be an Achilles heel. From what I've seen from Isaiah Wynn, I'm not sure the buy-in is there. And if that's going to be a problem, nothing we really say or do is going to matter all that much. If they're not getting the blocking and Mac is still running for his life, he's going to struggle, even though I do predict that he will be better. I think it may be difficult for him with that. So he's going to have to be very aware of his surroundings, and we'll see. Hopefully that will be the case. My bold prediction for the second half of the season is that 12-man personnel that the Patriots have been wanting. I'm not sure how much we're going to see 12, but I think the tight ends will be better. And I know you can hear Claire squealing all the way over from the UK. Don't worry, we'll talk about this when Claire rejoins the show. And we talk to her later this week. But at the same time, I do think that this tandem of Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith will start to live up to expectation. They really have nowhere to go but up at this point, Steve. So maybe this isn't such a bold prediction, but 35 catches, 394 yards, one scoring touchdown. That's not one stat line. That's combined with the two of them right now, folks. So that absolutely has to change. They also, I don't think, have been all that great with blocking against the run. Pro Football Focus has these guys graded pretty low. Hunter Henry, a 49.8. That's 49th among 67 eligible tight ends. Smith ranks 64 out of 67. He's at 35.8. So that has to change, especially if the Patriots continue to struggle along the offensive line. But I think they find a way to incorporate these guys on offense. I think if they can utilize play action, it's going to open up things for Hunter Henry, really accentuate his route running skills. You saw it on the seam route against the Colts. 30-yard gain there. That was a big move, and I think a big connection between Mac and Hunter, who really looked very good together last year. We haven't seen that. That I think we see a little bit more in the second half. And I still believe Jonnu can be a move tight end, someone who's particularly threatening in the red zone. If the Patriots can put that together and they are able to utilize the two tight ends, that strengthens this offense so much. It gives them an additional couple of weapons that we really haven't seen utilized all that much this year. So whether it's a bold prediction or not, folks, that is my prediction for the offense. And I think the offense improves because of the play for the tight ends. So, Steve, before we take our leave of the bye week, you get the final word today, my friend. Any more thoughts about the Patriots' future, about the bye, or about the second half that you'd like to share with our adoring public that always love to hear your wisdom and counsel?
Yeah, I think this game on Sunday, I think it's as big a game for the Jets as well as the Patriots, as we will have seen from these two teams playing at the same time for quite some time. I think, this is pivotal. I mean, I was talking with Antoine Staley, who covers the Jets for the New York Daily
Hmm.
News, excuse me, earlier today, and he said, how crazy the NFL is this season. At the end of Sunday, the Jets could be either in first place in the division or in last place. And that, I mean, when you're talking about parity, there you go. I mean, every game now is going to be important. And I think in the next month, looking at the Patriots schedule, I think we're going to have a much better idea of where this team is and what they're going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. We may have a pretty clear picture as to what this team could be by the time the Buffalo Bills roll into town on December 1st. Big Thursday night game, throwback game, my friend. It's going to be a fun one, but the Patriots have a couple of definite tough matchups when you're talking about not only the Jets this weekend, but most importantly, when you're talking about the Minnesota Vikings as well on Thanksgiving, because they look to be every bit a formidable force when it comes to the New England Patriots as well. So, Steve, it's always an honor, always a blast to have you join me here on Locked On Patriots. I thank you for taking time out to join me today. Before I let you go, my friend, please let everyone know where they can find you, interact with you, and what you have coming down the pike from the great pen, the great voice of Steve Balestrieri.
Well, thanks. I don't know so much about the voice right now. I'm losing it, but I write for PatsFans.com. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SteveB7SFG. I'm on Facebook under Steve Balestrieri, and I did the podcast with Murph and Claire this morning with Antoine, who I just mentioned. It's a Jets beat writer. And I have a podcast coming up tomorrow with Russ and Derek, and we're going to be breaking down the Jets game.
Absolutely. And definitely check out both of those folks. Antoine, of course, has been on the airwaves here on Locked On Patriots. And Russ and Derek just do an amazing job with Patriots 4th and 2 alongside Steve. So check those out wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you consume any of your Patriots coverage. And Steve's columns are always must read, folks. His Sunday column, Murph likes to call it the Sunday paper. Who am I to argue? I completely agree, my friend. A tip of the cap, as always. Folks, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us here on Locked On Patriots and make Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. And now that you've made us your first listen, please make your second listen our good friends over at Locked On Sports Today. All of the latest sports news in all the major sports and college under 30 minutes, and you even get the take of the day. Folks, it's a tremendous deal, and you'll want to invest the time. So download, subscribe to, follow Locked On Sports Today on the Odyssey app, on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're at it, make sure to smash that subscribe button on YouTube for Locked On Patriots and download us wherever you get your audio podcasts. On behalf of the resident voice of reason here on Locked On Patriots, Steve Balestrieri, I'm Mike Debate. Stay safe, stay well, be the change that you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone.